It's been 6 months since I talked to y'all about the 12.9-inch iPad and why I love it. And is it still worth it? Is it still something that I would recommend y'all to get? Absolutely 100% hands down. This baby that I've been using the last 6 months, I honestly don't think I could live a day without using this. And today I wanted to talk to y'all about why the 12.9-inch is still 100% worth it and the top reasons why I still love this beautiful thing, and what are the things that I still use it until this day. What are the most common things that I still use the iPad 12.9-inch for, and what are some things that I thought I would use it for but it didn't really end up being a thing. So let's get into those. First, they're like probably the 3 biggest thing that I use it for. Number 1, the thing that I still use the iPad 12.9-inch for is notes taking. And this is huge for me personally because I cannot think without the iPad. So whenever I start a project, an idea, start my day even, I feel like I need to organize my thoughts and I need to write things down. And the iPad is really the start of some of my greatest ideas, some of my greatest projects, and also help me really prioritize what exactly do I need to get done for the day, for the week, for the month. And so it's my go-to, and I feel very crippled, to be honest, without my iPad whenever I am trying to start an idea, start a project. And of course, yes, I could use paper, I could use pen, I could write it down. And I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to using iPad now, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, yes, I could still write down the same thoughts, the same idea, same everything on pens and paper, but maybe because the inflexibility to like erase, drag, and organize things in real time like I can in the iPad, it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have the same enjoyable feeling as I would with the iPad. And I cannot emphasize enough how big part of this like ideating, writing down my thoughts, and really organizing my thoughts really contribute to some of my best idea, best output, and best deliverable that I do at work and my personal life. Oftentimes I start with writing out, for example, what are the goals? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? Why does it matter? You know, all of that stuff I draw, I make sure everything is listed out, I organize it in a way that it's like easy to follow through. And for me and my job, I do create a lot of like slides, documents, and everything to communicate to a wider audience why these things matters. And this is where drawing everything out on the iPad is super helpful because I could literally outline everything I need, and if something that I write at the very bottom needs to be like referenced back at the top, I could like actually copy that section, drag it back up, like open a new page and make sure that thing is right underneath what I just referenced at the top, so now they're at the same place. It's really helpful for me, and this is probably one part I cannot emphasize enough because I legit feel crippled when I don't have my iPad, and I'll tell you, some of the reasons why that is in a second. Okay, the second thing that I really love is that I'm a very visual person, so the fact that I'm able to draw everything out and have something super tangible in front of me, it's so great because like that's how I essentially recognize, even register in my own head, like what exactly am I thinking about? Why does this matter? So as I was saying, so organizations and notes taking and all of that really contribute big time in my day-to-day with the iPad. I just don't think I am able to really go without being able to work on my iPad. It's just like such a free experience when I'm able to jot down my thoughts, my everything. It's my go-to, even to create content, my personal project, work. Oh my god, I want to take this baby with me everywhere, but I don't, and I'll tell you why that is in a second. Okay, and I also want to share with you what are like some of my favorite note-taking apps for the iPad. So I do have one that it's called Collab Note. This one, it became my favorite instantly as soon as I download it because number 1, it's free. It's freaking amazing the fact that Collab Note is free. It's a very beautiful user interface. The thing that I really love about this app is you could write over paper, different pages, and I say this because I do have a paid app that I use that's also very good called GoodNotes. And yes, you could have infinite infinite pages as well, but you can't really like draw cross pages, and sometimes that irritates me because my thought is like a long laundry list of things, and I sometimes want things to just connect and, you know, things don't look broken in page over page. For whatever reason, and maybe I just don't know, if y'all know, leave it in the comments, I just cannot have the pages on GoodNotes collapse into one. And it's a paid app. I had to pay for this. I forgot how much I paid. I think it was around $10 USD. But I cannot tie the pages together, and that's something about that I just don't really like. And when I use CollabNote, there's also differences in the way you write on these different notes app. The way you write, the way that your writing shows up, how thin, how thick, how it registers your writing is also feeling different, which is something that I noticed through the different apps. So I've tried CollabNote, GoodNotes, Notability, and also I think I even try, of course, like the native app that comes, the Notes app that comes with from the iPad, and also like Microsoft have a few notes taking app as well. Like I try a few, not a lot. All of those I would say will give me a different feel whenever I do write on the app, which I think is kind of great because some of them makes you feel like you have better handwriting than you actually do, and some is just like make you actually feel like you have uglier handwriting than you actually do. So I don't know, but I really love CollabNote. I want to give credit to the creator of CollabNote because I was like at the beginning reading the origin of this app, and I think this person kind of like created it out of like boredom or just want to help people out that have something free and accessible, and it's just very nice capability because it has a lot of great capability. It almost really ladders up to GoodNotes and Notability for a lot of the great native features that it has, and it's a free app. I think one of the, not downside, but one of the things that I think the way it works in CollabNote is that all of the notes that you save, it's actually saved within your iPad. So it's not necessarily saved within the cloud. I don't know if that's an option for people to then pay to save it in the cloud in CollabNote, but I know that like if I want to reference my notes, it's actually a little bit more difficult to reference because everything's actually saved in my iPad and it's not easily uploaded in the cloud. Or maybe I just haven't tried it, but highly recommend CollabNote. It's one of my favorite notes. This is my go-to day-to-day to like jot down a bunch of random stuff. And then for GoodNote, I actually use it a lot when I do present my iPad during virtual calls at my work. So it's really great when it's like just having great control of laser. You have a laser option where you could actually really show people where in the whiteboard, I call it the whiteboard whenever I do share my screen. And it's very precise, really easy to switch from like laser to writing to eraser to different colors. It's really quick, really easy, very fast. So that's like another thing I really like about GoodNotes. It's just like from a presentation standpoint to use it in real time and showing it to people. It's really easy, really fast, really seamless for all of the different features. And GoodNote, I mean, I don't know if the subscription have changed like Notability, but it was like a one-time payment for me and everything works really well so far. It's probably my second favorite notes taking app and it works really well. It works perfectly and there's a lot of different great capabilities and it's very easy to sync as well. Like if you want to reference the stuff that you took in your GoodNotes app, you could do that easily, do a browser link. Like, so it's really easy to access and share and like get reminders of what exactly you wrote even without having the app with you or your iPad or anything. So that I really like. Notability, I actually haven't used it for very long, nor if I have the paid version. I know that their subscription model have changed a little bit, but I don't know. It's all right for me. Like I do like the infinite scroll, but because I think I only have an X number of storage, that doesn't really work well for me. So that's that. Okay, so aside from all of that, the few things that I also really like about the iPad that I still use till this day is entertainment and just easy to shop. Like of course, right? iPad, no matter the size, that's like one great thing about using the iPad is that it's so easy to browse, so easy to be entertained, so easy for just like grabbing it on your bed, on your couch or whatever. Like it's just something about it because I do have all sorts of laptops. Like I have a 16-inch laptop. I have 11-inch laptop that's really small and light, and I also have a 14-inch laptop and a 13-inch laptop. Like all of those different size of laptop, I don't know, it's different. Like it's not as easy to just like take out, put on YouTube, put on the show, browse shopping. It's just not very convenient. iPad for me on the other hand, like it's just so, I don't know, like there's this playful vibe with iPad, using an iPad that just makes you feel like, oh, it's so easy. Like you browse everything that's like do 2 touches. I love that, and I do think that the fact that 12.9 inch is a wider screen, again, it promotes me from wanting to go on it. And yes, I still use multitask all the time. Like my favorite thing is to like put pictures in picture with like Netflix, Hulu, now YouTube. Oh my god, that's like the new rollout of YouTube recently. Now it's native, like it finally rolled out in iOS where like you could just swipe up in your YouTube, and as you're watching it just like automatically put it in a picture-to-picture screen. I waited for that for so long because whenever I'm trying to like watch YouTube while using other apps in my iPad, I always have to go to Safari, go click, you know, full screen and picture-in-picture. And I don't really use Safari, I usually use Chrome, so it just wasn't as seamless for me, and I'm like an avid YouTube watcher person. So like now finally iOS and YouTube is like super compatible. I could easily just open my YouTube app, swipe up, and it just continue to play while I browse and research on other things. Love, love, love it. And the reason why even my 11-inch laptop, it's like a baby laptop, very small, very thin. I got it like a way back ago. The reason why I don't think even that laptop is very compatible, because laptop heats up very easily, and I don't know if it's just my like versions of laptop. Maybe now M1 is much better and M2 and all of that great stuff, but all of the laptops that I have, they do heat up very easily. And one thing that I do love, as some of you might remember in my previous video that talks about, you know, what I think about 12.9 inch in comparison to the smaller 11-inch, is that I use it to sleep. I use it to sleep. Like, I know some of y'all like, no, it'll fall, and it does fall, and thank god I have carpet because I don't use a case. I put this little stand next to my bed, and I like still, you know, put this up to like watch YouTube every night, and the iPad is what I like use to watch YouTube or whatever movies to fall asleep, and it doesn't heat up. It doesn't heat up, definitely not in the same way those laptop would heat up, and burns my like bed. Like if you just touch underneath the bedding of my laptop before, or any laptop really, like you put on a pillow, you put on your bed, right, because it's like thick, it's like not heat observant or whatever, not observant, the opposite, and it just makes it really hot and just feels like you have this little bomb next to you when you're trying to sleep. It can't be healthy. So like it's just scary, and I try to put like things in the middle to like, it just doesn't work really well. Okay, and another thing that I still love and use a lot within my iPad is shopping. So, and I love to be inspired with different things, so like Pinterest is one of my favorite things to also browse through, especially using the iPad, because the sizing of how you could even look at your Pinterest is much more flexible than you could be than when you're on your phone, and I love it. So a lot of times I would like go on Pinterest trying to be inspired, looking at beautiful things, whether it's decor or clothing or even food, and then on the other hand I'll be like doing shopping you know, on another page. And I love that because again, like that is something that I would do when I'm on the iPad, especially on 12.9, because again, it's so easy. It's just so, the screen again for me, it's perfect. It's wide enough to do all of that stuff without feeling like everything's being stuffed in one page. So that's something that I still use so often, on top of using it to sleep at night, and of course like for any type of entertainment. And yes, like stuff that I always watch here all the time, rather if it's full screen, little screen, half screen, it's Netflix, of course, Hulu, Netflix, did I say Netflix? No, YouTube, Hulu, Netflix. Those are like the top 3. And why is that? Because those are the only 3 things I have access and subscription to. I wish I have everything else like Amazon Prime Video and all of the Disney, but like I just don't. I don't have subscription to those, so that's that. Okay, now I said those are like pretty much organization, ideating, do notes, do drawing, and entertainment and shopping. All of those are like still my, I always say almost like day-to-day stuff that I use on the 12.9-inch iPad, which again, absolutely love. It sounds like trivial things like, oh, taking notes, you know, watching YouTube, but it's really different when I feel like I use it on the laptop versus, when I use it on the iPad versus my phone versus the laptop. Like the 3 feel that you get from trying to do the same thing, I feel like is much different. And the iPad just gives you just such a like seamless feeling of, even easy, it's also convenient, it's also productive, it's easy to do things. And like when I'm on my phone, I do very limited. Like I barely actually purchase things on my phone unless it's through my Amazon app. Like just this whole experience of like trying to enter your information, making sure everything's right. Like in the smaller screen on my iPhone, which is like I have the regular iPhone 12. Like, you know, it's just the regular size. It's not the Pro, it's not the Max or anything like that. It's just limited. It's good for, again, small things like TikTok, you know, like entertainment and things like that, and like look at my emails. But to do real stuff, real work on it, it's just not something that it's easy on the iPhone as much as it is and more seamless in an iPad. But now let's talk about what are some things that I thought I would really use the iPad 12.9 inch for, that in the last 6 months I actually didn't really end up using it that much. So the first thing that I could think of is that for things that I need to type a lot or even like decent, I don't actually use the iPad for to do that. Like even though yes, like I could connect it to my keyboard, it's very easy to connect wireless keyboard through Bluetooth to your iPad, and then you could, you know, place your iPad, you know, up in one of these stands, right? And then you could like just type on it. But I don't know what it is. Like it's this, again, like I love efficiency, I love seamless, I love like ease of use, and the fact that I have to stand it up, sync it to, you know, a keyboard, and then yes, I could do it, and I love that I have the option to do it. But when it really comes to writing, you know, like serious emails, you know, decently length size emails that are to my colleagues, right? Things that I want to make sure I'm not having a bunch of misspelling and all of that, and like journaling, even like when things that requires real work and real time commitment and like typing everything, the iPad raw keyboard or even just connecting to a keyboard is not something that I realized I really used in the last 6 months. Whenever I need to do that, I would jump on my laptop instead and get that done, and then come back to the iPad for more, again, using the pen to do whatever I need, and then browse, and then like split screen, multi-screen, whatever. That is what I really use the iPad for, alongside with my laptop. Like it's always next to me, so it's not like I use the laptop and then I don't use the iPad. It's like the iPad's right next to me for like easy of use for other things, and then the laptop, like I type my life away. So typing things is something that I realize I still do not use the iPad for. And the little small thing like search for shopping categories, like yes, I just use the raw keyboard that the iPad comes with. The 12.9 inch for that stuff, it actually feels good, because when you actually use the 12.9 inch keyboard, the sizing of it has like numbers on the top. It actually fits like a real keyboard, a lot more good feel than it is on the smaller iPad, even on the 11 inch. Like it feels more cramped. It doesn't actually fit the normal size of typing as you would than like in a real keyboard that you would write. So that I really like about 12.9 inch, because the keyboard width and typing, you know, structure fits like a normal keyboard much more. Another thing that I don't really use on the iPad is that like creating slide decks, you know, like actual documents, and like so at work, for example, I need to create a lot of like slide decks, you know, to show my idea, the project, whatever it is. Like those things I pretty much never use the iPad for, because it's just difficult. Like I need to use a mouse, I need to use typing, I need to drag. There's like just so many things that I feel like for those use case I need to use a laptop. And so with that, I do not use my iPad when I need to like crank my work stuff out. I work in tech, I work in marketing, and so I just have a lot of things that I need to like put in documentation, put in a way that it's visually easy to consume and all of that. And those stuff, again, I use my laptop to do instead. Okay, another thing that I do want to talk about that I end up not really ever doing with the iPad 12.9 inch as much as I thought I would is bringing it to a lot of places outside of my house. And I know that, you know, a lot of you, this is one of the big things for some of you, that when I read the comments, it's like, is it portable? Is it going to be too big for me to bring it everywhere? Is it like fit nicely in the hand and everything? And as much as I do love the 12.9 inch at home, I do not find it difficult to use and port around your house. Again, I don't use it with case either. So like just bringing it around home, sometimes I just like need to make sure if I'm like walking in the area of my house that doesn't have carpet, like I hold it really tight in case I do drop it. But the thing is though, the reason why I don't really bring it outside of the house is not because of it's big or that it doesn't fit in my hand nicely or that it it is safety reason for me. So I sometimes I have a hybrid office model at my job. So we do go into the office X days out of the week. And during the days that I do go into the office, there are moments where I feel like, man, I want to just bring my iPad because it has all my notes. Usually it's like ideas and plans that I have written like days before, and I'm still working on this project. So for me, it's just like, oh, I just want to bring it with me so I have the note. And I always worry about like taking onto like public transportation. Like even though if I'll have it in my bag, in my backpack, it's just, I don't know, like crime rate nowadays and everything. Like it just doesn't make me feel so safe because it's like my personal iPad. Like if something happens to it, it's done, it's gone, you know, like that's that. And it just doesn't make me feel safe in that regard to bring something like that into my bag and public transport into the office. Like it's a safety reason for me. And secondly, like, yeah, like there is a little part of me that is due to maybe because I don't like putting a case on the iPad, and one day I might just regret it. But because I don't have a case on this iPad, it just makes it so much more portable, to be honest. Like for those of you who have a case on it, I could only imagine how heavy it is because I did used to put cases on my older versions of iPad, and it is much more bulkier and heavier, even though yes, it is much safer. But this one makes me feel like it's so portable, so easy to use, and all of that because I think partly I don't put a case, so it's like really easy. I'm not encouraging you to not put a case. Like if you feel more comfortable, like please do. But for me, I actually like that about it. So even if let's say like I drive to work and I feel super safe going to the office, I still don't know if I really want to like lug this around the office, just because again, like if when I'm at the office, I actually do have to run into like a lot of meetings here and there a lot of times. So I'm like running around a lot. And as much as I want to take this in the meeting room with me to take notes and all of that, I don't know, I just feel like it's clumsy. Like it's just not something that I want to bring with me at a place outside of home, my home office. And a little bit of it, I would say, because it's 12.9, because I sometimes imagine myself like, what if I have an iPad mini? Would I feel a lot more comfortable to then like bring that with me meetings to meetings? And yes, I think I would. However, size of these are so small, like, and I also then think about, would I really be taking notes on these? Like I think I would, but again, it will be like very casual notes that is likely not as elaborated as I usually use my iPad for. So then I don't know. But you know what will be interesting is maybe I'll get the mini and try it and see if I actually find that useful in notes taking. I don't know. I tried it on the 11 though, but I didn't really like it as much, so it would be crazy if I did like the mini maybe. I don't know, we'll try it. But those are probably the things that I thought I would use it more on the iPad in the last 6 months, but I really didn't. So all the typing stuff I barely ever used. Things that I would actually create for work, like slide decks, long documents, all of that, again, I don't really use the iPad for. And when it comes to bringing it with me everywhere I go, I don't really bring it with me, not so much for the sizing as the main reason, but again, like safety. But that could again be applied to any iPad, I guess, right? Like if you just don't feel comfortable in bringing something that you don't want to lose, or like that could be applicable to anything. But yeah, like those are the 3 things that I didn't actually really end up using on the iPad as much as I thought. But again, the great stuff that I love, absolutely love on the iPad, I use it a lot, like every single day, and like to a point where I just feel like the iPad is a part of me, and I don't feel like my workflow and my efficiency and my thinking could be as clear without the iPad. And with that trumps everything, because again, the productivity, efficiency, and making sure that your thoughts are able to like tangibly put down in, rather if it's words and writing or just the way that you can organize your thoughts to communicate clearly to your audience, to your work, to whatever it is that you need, or even journaling, right? Like it's part of like organizing how you're feeling, all of that into something more tangible. And if that's gonna work well for you through writing or through typing or through outlining in any other way, like I feel like it's super worth it. So yes, absolutely no regrets with the 12.9 inch at all. Absolutely still love it. Cannot live without it at this point. Let me know how y'all like your iPad. If you have a 12.9 inch, like how are you feeling? If you're debating still on getting it, what are some things that is holding you back or makes you want to do it? Love to hear all of it, and hope this review is helpful for you. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.